My name is Dennis Moss, and I'm an associate member with AFSA. With AFSA, I do a lot of charity work, and that came about because of Mohammed and Jakta. I have been with AFSA since I think about 6 years ago, and because Mohammed was involved with the national committee, the national BME committee that we sit on, I got to meet Jack that way as well. And then we started getting involved in charity work because we started with the water pumps, and then we escalated from there. I've been with the Welsh Ambulance Service for 41 years. I actually retired last year in July, but I've gone back to try and support and help the service with some inequalities, and that's basically addressing communities, looking for having proportional representation throughout the trust, especially in the areas that we live in Wales. We have a large proportion of people from Birmingham background. With my experience of the ambulance service and with my understanding of the community as well, that the Chief Exec asked me if I would help and get involved in trying to promote the Welsh Ambulance Service, and that we have a more diverse workforce as well, and that's what our aims are towards working to that, and also to working towards the aims of changing the makeup of the trust board as well, which that's also happening at this present time. So we are making some progress within the trust, which I'm pleased to say, really. Basically, AFSA has given me a lot of knowledge because with all the conferences that they have, and you can basically build on some of the guest speakers, what they've been talking about, especially when they talk about equality, about inclusion, and different other things like that. So it gives you a lot of knowledge and understanding. And the support I get from Jakta and Mohammed also helps. So if I got any problems, I always come back to them and say, look, what do you think about this? How can we do it? So we actually share good practices as well. So that's a big support for me, really, in the role that I'm doing. The charity work. Because it started with the water pumps in India. Obviously, I explained that the other night where I was doing the water pumps for AFSA. So AFSA was funding it as well. Even though I was paying for my own flights and everything else out there, AFSA was helping to fund it with the water pumps. So what we were doing, we were actually drilling about 700 foot, and we were supplying water for the villages, and just seeing water coming out of that was quite an emotional time for me. Because also it saved so many lives in a village of 85 huts with 5 to 8 members living each, and one water pump supplies all of them with clean water. So because of that, we continued putting water pumps in other parts of the villages in Jamshedpur and outside Jamshedpur as well. And it's just extended from there. So while I was out there, we heard about a child who died in school, 15 years of age from choking. Having approached that school, because this day and age, I'm thinking that shouldn't be happening. We should be adequately trained to be able to deal with situations like that and any other scenarios that can occur. But what had happened was the fact that they told me that there's no ambulance service as such in place where the villages are and where the schools are. And the ambulance services that are there are usually based in the hospital, and they aren't trained to the knowledge and the depth that we are trained in UK. So I spoke to them and asked them if they'd like to have some first aid training, and they agreed to it. So from that, with the support of Father David, who's a Catholic priest as well, he coordinated everything in India for me. And then between myself and Father David, AFSA, and the team that I put together called Team India, that's people from paramedics who are from Wales and from England as well, we started to fundraise, and in fact, we even paid for our own fares. Every one of us paid for our own fares, but we just wanted to fundraise as well and support from AFSA to buy books and mannequins and different things that we needed, really. So that's what the support, and AFSA was a brilliant support for that as well. So we continued the training. So the first training we did was 2015, and we actually done a number of schools. I think at first they were a bit hesitant because they thought we were coming there to tell them what to do, but we weren't. We were actually passing on the experience and knowledge that we have in the fields that we work in as well as professionals, and we passed on that knowledge. When they realised that what they were learning from us as well, including children and teachers, because we also trained the teachers to be able to deliver the training, but when they seen what the training was about, they wanted us to come back. So then in 2017, we decided to go back to India to do some more training because some other parts of the school and villages need some training as well. While we were doing that, Jakta mentioned about us going to the Golden Temple and delivering training there. So we thought, yeah, why not? So AFSA supported that, and we went out there. Obviously, I put a package together, which is the itinerary for the day. So it was a 2-day training session, which we managed to condense into 1 day. But when we got out there, the scenario changed. which is quite understandable because it was actually the people we trained was all people that worked in the temple, and it's quite a big temple that is as well. And they wanted the afternoon shift to be trained in the morning, and the morning shift to be trained in the afternoon. So which meant we had to condense the course down. So we did what we can in such a short space of time. We had a 7-day training program for them put together. So we delivered the best we could for them, basically CPR and bones and broken bones and injuries. That's all. But we needed to deliver more. But I think they're looking at us coming back to deliver the second part of the training as well. And that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I understand that Jack are looking to get us out there to train the trainers, so the trainers can continue the training, so we wouldn't have to go back out there. So that's also not a bad idea. So yeah, that's how it's all come about. AFSA has supported us obviously because Jack seems to be the push there. He's a driver there really, and he drives everything. With Jack's background being from the fire service and also being, I think he's the chair of some trust as well. That has supported us really in having some more understanding and also trying to improve relationship, especially with the Asian Fire Service Association. Never realised there was an Asian Fire Service until I actually joined. So that gave me a bit more strength in what I was trying to do and achieve within my trust as well. My trust has got to know more about AFSA because of me, and I think my chief exec came in 2 years ago. And she actually spoke at the AFSA conference as well. So AFSA is getting that recognition. Jackie's done a lot to try and help us with that and support as well. And he's prepared to, Mohammed comes out and he talks about equality as well. Jack is prepared to do it as well. So there's a lot of support there if they needed the trust. Inspirational, motivated, and AFSA is growing from strength to strength.